Okay, I appreciate that. I know, sarcasm, but I appreciate it anyway. Also guarantee that any animal, folks, y'all gotta lighten up something. Every day that we don't get rain, we lose between half an inch to 2 inches of water through runoff and evaporation. Right now, we're about 2 weeks away from the water. Always out here in the Okefenokee. Here's bitten, bluegill, brim, lard, crappie, catfish. Pretty much any freshwater fish you'll find in good except for trout. We've also got 37 species of snakes. Only 5 of them are
Only 5, but
coral snake, which is the deadliest snake in the continent. You look straight ahead of it, it's got nice and pink stuff on that tree right by the OSP sign.
yeah.
So this water is very cool. If you don't have allergies to over 1,000 years old, were all cut down and hauled out of here by 1927. These survived because they're just too they were hauled on a narrow gauge railway. Now the men that did this work, my grandfather was one of them, worked armpit deep in alligators and snakes 12 hours a day for $1 a day. It's only 90 feet tall, but on a hot day it gets taller. Back on July 4th.
Lolly day.
Now this is not a reproduction, that's a real article there.
Is it working?
Well, unfortunately it's been disabled, so there's not going to be any free sampling. Look over to the right, you see the other side of that bridge. I'll get it at 10 years old. People always want to know how I know that. Well, I don't actually, but the gators know, and I've seen a sprint. You might have seen lizards do this. They can't change directions once they start their run. So if you zigzag, you can escape. Or, if there's too ugly water for the swamp and the gator attacks, your best bet is to knock your buddy down.
Sounds like an appropriate thing to do with the poodles as far as I'm concerned.
Of a local family over some property, and in that fight they killed that family. This has been called the last Indian massacre in Georgia. I prefer to think of it as when the Seminoles were defending the right to property. The U.S. government sent 400 soldiers in to run a marrow swamp, keep Osceola, and about 40 of his men kept luring these soldiers deeper and deeper in the swamp, ambushed.
Where they kept luring soldiers deeper in the swamp.
Now at this point, right, if you see a boat coming this way before I do, please let me know so I can get this boat up to ramming speed. These boats used to have a point on that end. So sometimes we hit somewhere where I can swap passage, y'all could come back on a whole different boat. The best thing about this low water is I'm not liable to bust my head on these low bridges. It's only have about one per boat driver anyway.
The mosquito street there then? If it's so acidic, the mosquito street.
Mosquitoes? Yeah. Oh, we got mosquitoes out here so big and so vicious when they bite your skull collapse. They get too fat to fly, we just pick them up and carry them. You got 2 moons, that's about 4 times the romantic. Or like I said, them bugs that bite rope. We've also got what we call yellow flies. Now they're not bad today, but last month these boats come back with just bones in them sometimes. This real thick growth either side of us here is called hoorah. That's an old Seminole word, not even know the meaning. Imagine those trees up ahead up to 10 times big around, 5 or 6 times as tall. That's how it looked before this place got logged down. That's how it's going to look again in just 1,000 years when the swamp is through healing. This is an experiment. bringing back to nature what human beings have destroyed. So far, it's a magic pill. For titanium dioxide, white paint pigment. And that would kill the swamp. To me, it's personal. My family goes back to the swamp 150 years. They were some of the original pioneers. But it should be important to every American, to every citizen of the world, because places like this are disappearing, folks.
There was nowhere else.
Now, big?
Is this the actual limit for it? Does it always be? Or is it bigger?
Yes, it is.
It's always been this big.
Ooh, look, straight ahead. See that thing in the water looks like a stick? That's a stick. But it's a non-poisonous. Now, coming up on our right is going to be an open area. There may or may not be a female alligator with some young in there. This particular do you have your return ticket? That's where I make my money. When the peat on the bottom of the water rots, it rots to produce methane. Eventually that methane will force that peat to the top. That's what you see right there. Then birds will fly over. An aerial map of the swamp would be no good from one day to the next. Eventually the roots will grow through to the bottom and anchor the whole thing. At that point you have a permanent island. Well, one of which, Billy's Island, once had a population of over 600 people. That's where my mom was born back in 1934. It was one of the last people born in the swamp.
Okay, how deep is the bottom then? How deep is the actual... You're on the peak there, but how deep is... You said
peak is another
go back an
6 or 8 inches at any given spot. Now there are places in the swamp where as much as 40 or 50 feet deep.
And what's under that? What's under the peak? Granite?
What's called hard pan, hard packed sand. Let me come around to the front here. Possible to put out, which is okay. We have no desire to put it out. It's important that it burns. Once it burns off 30,000 acres or so, like it did in 1990, the rains come back, then we've got a nice 30,000 acre lake. And if it didn't burn off, now if I knew where that gator was, I'd demonstrate how to walk on this trembling earth. I think I'll do it anyway. I'll take off my shoes. If the gator gets my foot, it gets my shoe. I can't have that. This is trembling earth. And you can walk on it if you know how. This is not quite firm enough. Or maybe it is. There we go. Somebody asked me the other day, how do you know there's not a gator under there? I said, look, if there was a gator under here, my foot wouldn't be here. I thought, I'm being way too literal with this. Now, well, they would sacrifice animals, decapitate them, and put their heads on these. And you can imagine how unsettling that might be.
Human skull up there.
I was once alive like you are now, but I complained and hollered anyhow. I love each day, don't pass it by for sure. Apparently we've got somebody who's really big into bad poetry here and works the parks. Way up in the island, I guess.
You were one what, killed in battle or that just died?
Killed in battle.
Killed in battle.
Or volunteers, I'm not sure.
You don't get many volunteers like that.
Yeah, people just, they don't want to give up their skull. These big golden flowers there are called golden trumpets. Those are carnivorous plants, they eat insects. Now the way they work is that hood over the top keeps rainwater out so that rainwater won't dilute the digestive juices. Insects go in after the nectar. There are small hairs pointing downwards, so they can't get back out. They get exhausted, fall down, get digested. Not uncommon to find bird skulls in those trumpets. Now to the right of those work pretty much the same way. You notice back in forest over there we have a lot of pine trees. Now pines have never been particularly endangered because they grew just about anywhere, but when they took the pine, put them trees out of here, they took some pines that might drop out that Chala red man, and that represents a substantial investment. Mass, a less than intelligent mind because folks, we don't mind being underestimated, just to our advantage. 0.0 grade point average. I said, Big Chuck, what is you're staying over at the college? You go, moving through those trees there. Little Irish woman tells the story. Is that ever reason to believe it might be true? He was a Thomas. We heard the name was Thomas. We've been wasting a good name on that. She can tell you some stories and lose you to sleep for decades. Usually when I come back to this bridge, there's kids on the boat, and they look and say, well, winter will bust my head. But that's entertainment. I don't want to miss. Now, they had me paint that sign there because I'm dyslexic. Classic called Lure of the Wilderness. This movie stars Walter Brennan and Jeffrey Hunter, a very realistic story of how people enter in the swamp. Right? Now, right here in this pond, Jeffrey Hunter wrestled a wild, crazed, 15-foot, dangerous battle swamp. Folks, we do wear shoes. And no, it's not just oh, well, it is my mom's. As we come up under this bridge, I want you to look at the walls of the bridge. You're going to see the nests of the dirt dauber or mud dauber wasps. Look to the right, just inside the third column, there you go. That's a small one there.
There's two of them there.
There might be a big one on that side.
There's one on the pillar and one on the wall.
Okay. Just say the good news about these spiders is they're not poisonous to humans. The bad news is when you're that big and you can jump 8 feet, a heart attack should do the trick. Like I put it all out with fuel for oxygen. They'll still rain. Please keep your hands clear of the right side of the boat as you will be those things that bug bites with.
That's all big. Yeah, just
She's probably about max, but she's a female. If it was a male, it'd be a lot bigger.
We saw one in West Virginia in Knoxville just called a fawn. And it was quite a bit of time we were walking.
We thought we heard children playing.
Yeah, and it was
Get in the pond.
certain times of the day. I mean, just certain days. I don't know what it is about her. She's fine. 1 minute you're in there, she just fucked out. Yeah.
Beauty. Not a whole lot of them left. There's a few of them along those. That's the meadow beauty. The tiny yellow flowers sticking up on the long stems, that's yellow-eyed grass. And there was some water lilies blooming right out in here, but they closed up when it started raining. This tall plant here, that's St. John's wort. St. John's wort. People use that in medicinal purpose for antidepressant. There's more of that meadow beauty. This is maiden cane here. This stuff here is called maiden cane. Out in these lily ponds is fish, turtles, frogs, snakes, sometimes even alligators. Moonshine. Oh. It's another way of making a little bit of extra money. They didn't see nothing wrong with it. 1838. They killed a bunch of people that lived around the swamp in that year, and the army come in and run them out. We had drawings made by artists that come in the 1790s into an Indian camp. That turpentine oozes out these trees slowly. They're very sticky. That's why I'm trying to. Turpentine is used for pine oil cleaners, paint thinner. It's the base of some ladies' cosmetics. It's the base of some chewing gum.
There's another gator right down here. Right down there. Never lays an egg. One's laying right over here.
Share opportunities within 48 to 72 hours and increase begins to sprout out. They are equipped with a nictating membrane. His brain is so small, he has no serum on his brain. So what you're doing is you're just eliminating his motor skill.